So I didn't meet one goal, but I did meet another. Hello, my name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I'm a husband of a scientist. And let's talk about my month of June. Now, I was on reserve in the month of June. I was a line holder in May and a line holder in July. But for June, I was on reserve. And the reason I was on reserve, well, one, I'm not very senior, but more importantly, my airline wanted extra staffing on the aircraft I fly, the 777. So they moved in 37 first officers from another base into my base, actually two other bases into my base. I think it was New York and LA. And they do this it's called temporary duty if you're really interested in it. And they typically, what they do initially is they say everyone who's junior, the bottom pilots, they'll call it 20 in LA and 17 in New York. I don't know how it was. But the bottom 20 pilots, the bottom 17 pilots, you guys are all going to Dallas for the month of June. However, any pilot that's senior that wants to volunteer to go in place of a junior pilot, you can do it. And every time I've seen this happen at my airline over the last 7 years, it's always gone very senior. Typically, because if you are a commuter, let's say you commute to LA. Well, now they're offering this TDY in Dallas. You commute either way, but now you can get a guaranteed seat with the way temporary duty works. So now, if you live in Kansas City, let's say you live in Denver and you commute to LA. Well, now you can go to Dallas with a guaranteed seat each way. Plus, if you don't take the hotel, because they have to give you a hotel for the whole month because you're not based here, you don't live here. If you don't take the hotel for the whole month, you get an extra $2,000 cash. So it goes very senior. All that to say, every pilot that came into my base temporarily for the month of June, they were all senior to me. So that pushed me way down the list. So I ended up on reserve. It is what it is. I did a short call reserve. Now, when the month started, actually many months ago, my family planned a vacation at the end of June going into July. I am too junior to hold vacation over summer in my current status. I held it as an Airbus FO, not as a 777 first officer. So I didn't have I couldn't go the vacation guaranteed, right? I'd have to work on my schedule. Getting a full week off in the middle of summer, being so junior, especially in a high staffing month, very difficult. So my whole goal as a reserve pilot was to get to 85 hours of credit as fast as I can. Why 85? Because once it's a contractual thing between the airline and the union. Once a reserve pilot gets to 85 hours of credit, they cannot be given any further reserve assignments for the month unless certain situations happen. If it's unavoidable, like if I'm at 84 hours of credit and I'm in London and then a storm comes through and no one can take off and now I have to work an extra day, well, unfortunately, okay, extra credit, I go over. But if I'm already in base at 84 hours credit and there's an open trip, they have to use everyone else in all these situations before they can use me. The point is, 85 hours is where I want it to be, or even anywhere close to it, because how it works in my airline, keeping it really simple, every day I go to work, I get 5 hours and 15 minutes worth of credit. A 3-day trip is worth 15 hours and 45 minutes. Almost every trip in my base on my aircraft that's normally built is a 3-day trip. So, minimum. So if I get to even 71 hours, I'm protected from having a 3-day trip. If I get to 79 hours and 45 minutes or 46 minutes, I can't be used even for a day trip that came up, like a ferry plane to Tulsa and come back kind of thing. So there's lots of ways to work this situation to try to avoid being used at the end of the month. As a reserve pilot, I get 12 days off per bid month. It's not a calendar month, it's a bid month. Meaning I have to be available for 18 days. Now, if you do 18 times 5 hours, 15 minutes, that's way more than 85 hours, right? But it is what it is. Anyways, so the bid month started on June 2nd. I was on short call reserve. They didn't use me. But I did proffer for a trip, meaning kind of bid for a trip on June 2nd for June 3rd, which was supposed to be a 3-day trip to Narita. Ended up being 4 days. Life happened. Whatever. I got a pair of jeans out of the deal. I wanted these special jeans to make in Japan. So anyways, but even that 4th day on June 6th, it was a reserve day. So it didn't really affect me very much. The pilots I was flying with, they were all line holders. So they had to work into a day off for quote unquote free. For me, I worked into another reserve day. I wanted to be home actually, but it is what it is. But that was my first week of reserve. Then I was off on the Saturday. On the Sunday, again, I did profit for this trip on my day off, meaning on Saturday, I profit for this trip for starting on Sunday, because again, I want to fly high time trips to get to 85 as fast as I can. So I profited for a Barcelona trip, and I got it, right? So these first two trips, even though I'm on short call reserve, I had more than a day's notice for it. Anyways, so I went to Barcelona. Great. Then I was off for 4 days. On my next stint of reserve, this one I was trying to avoid flying because I had a strategy in mind, but it is what it is. I got assigned a London 3-day trip, right? And this one, I believe this one came up on the day of. No, it was the day before. It was the day before because all they had open was all London trips, and I'm like, I don't want to go to London. I don't care for London. They had like 5 open London trips. I was only legal for one of them with my 8 o'clock wrap. Yeah, I got a London trip. It is what it is. 3-day London trip, very easy. Came back for 2 days. Now, on my next set of reserve days, again, I was on reserve for 3 more days. They actually couldn't use me. I had flown such high time between May and now June that I couldn't fly due to the 100-hour rule for those 3 days. I actually wanted to pick up overtime on one of those days off. Couldn't do it. Everything that was open, I was illegal for. Because again, most of the trips in my base are 3 days long. If they had like a day trip, I could have done it, but either I was too junior to get it or they didn't have any day trips open. And then they open up day trips every now and then to ferry airplanes or do a equipment substitution. Maybe they have a heavy booking from Dallas to Orlando. They need a bigger airplane. They'll put a 777 on it. That kind of thing. That didn't happen. Now, coming to the end of June, on June 23rd, was my landing sim day. I hadn't landed a plane in a long time due to me bidding and then just circumstances, right? I was only being a relief pilot. So I had to go into the sim to do some landings. Not a big deal. That was on June 23rd. 24th, 25th, I was legal again. Now, this vacation was going to start, my family was leaving on June 27th, coming back on July 4th. I was supposed to be on reserve again on the 26th, 27th, 28th. Yeah. And I had a trip on the next month, starting in July. I actually had a trip that started, hold on guys, double check it, on July 2nd, going through the 4th. I'm like, well, Thankfully, I was able to drop that trip to July 2nd to the 4th, so I got that parted off. But going back to June, the 26th to 28th, I had an issue. I was exposed, right? Because now here I am at 69-ish hours. And again, 1545 is the minimum trip. So don't you know, on June 25th, this Maui trip came out of nowhere. Didn't even see it pop into open time. Bam, on my schedule. I was legal by 6 minutes. I was now at 84 hours and 54 minutes of credit. They got me. But again, it is a game, it's contractual, it's all legal. So this ended up actually helping me because I knew all they can give me is a Hawaii trip. My domicile, actually my airline, only has two 777 flights a day from mainland to Hawaii, both from Dallas. One to Maui, one to Honolulu. There's nothing else they could give me that is a normally scheduled trip that would fit under 15 hours, 45 minutes. Hawaii did. And it's fine. It was a Maui relief pilot position. And here's the good thing though. It got into base at 6 in the morning on the 28th. Meaning I couldn't go with my family on the 27th, but they were going a day early, but I could join them on the 28th. So I got a nice Maui vacation. And then I made a video about this one. You'll see, I'll have a link at the end of the video. I came back from Maui at 6 in the morning, took a nap. Okay, drove home, took a nap, repacked, went back to the airport, took the 777 to Honolulu, the other 777 flight. Thankfully, I was able to sleep in the bunk. Got to Honolulu, rushed over to Hawaiian, asked for a ride, got a ride on a Hawaiian over to Kona. So it did end up working in my favor by getting this Hawaii trip on my last 3 days of reserve. Because if I didn't have this Hawaii trip, right, and say I was just on call the 26th, 27th, and 28th, my normal wrap time is 8 a.m. A wrap time is the time I have to be available for contact each reserve day. Keeping it simple. And I'm released on my last day of reserve after 6 hours sitting on a wrap. Okay? So I would not have been released until 2 in the afternoon on Saturday, making it impossible to get to Hawaii on that same day. So it is what it is, right? Now, as far as I said, I met one goal and didn't meet another goal. So I met the goal of going on vacation with my family. Great. However, my other goal is to get to 91 hours of credit every single month. Why 91, Darren? If 85 is the most you can get. Great question, Darren. If I was on the Airbus right now as a captain on reserve, I would be paid 76 hours a month, value here. I peek at the assignment list every now and then for captains, and very few get overtime. Some get to 80 hours a month, yes, but a lot just get regular 76 hours a month, right? This reserve flying. So if I exceed this number or meet this number, then I'm not losing any money being a wide-body first officer. Now, my average for my first year on the airplane was 95 hours a month. Really, really good. In May, I had this many hours, but June, I only had this many hours. Now, average together, I exceed my 91, but most months, I'm able to get to 91. But June, I did not. But that was my month of June on reserve. In case I didn't explain this earlier because I'm doing all this in one take. Short call reserve means I get less than 12 hours notice for a flight assignment. Long call reserve is more than 12 hours notice before a flight assignment. That's just how it works. I prefer short call reserve. Typically, people that live in base prefer short call. People that commute prefer long call. Because again, if you live in Denver, then they call you at 2 in the afternoon, and they need you the next day for a 10 o'clock flight to Hawaii, you have plenty of time to get there, right? Versus if you live in Denver and you're on short call, you might have to be sitting in a crash pad all day long waiting for a phone call. But if you're on long call, you can typically get to where you need to be, especially on the wide body, especially in my base, because the first flight of the day typically is actually an 11 a.m. flight to Hawaii. So even if they call you at 10 o'clock at night in Denver, they need you at 10 a.m. the next day because you sign in an hour for departure, you can take the first flight out of Denver in the morning and get here in time to go to Hawaii. But anyways, I like short call reserve. It pays 3 hours more per month, but it fits my lifestyle better. I like having a defined time of being on call, because if you're a long call pilot, they could conceivably call you or contact you, is how I should more plainly say it, contact you at 3:30 in the morning for a 3:30 p.m. showtime. And I don't want to be woken up at 3:30 in the morning. Neither does my wife, because, yeah. Anyways, my name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I'm a husband of a scientist. This is my month of June review. It was good overall. I had great trips. Again, I love Narita. I got to go to Barcelona. I went to London. And I got a free Hawaii vacation. If you'd be so kind, please subscribe, drop a comment, hit like. Have a great day. And as always, thank you for stopping by.